Good morning, everyone. So good to have a full group here in the house in the Zendo this morning, and to see all of you online, including the Lisbon Sangha. I can now say we have a Lisbon Sangha because there are two. So good to have our monthly zazen kai, and I just see everyone in their practice, on the cushion, doing their service positions, chanting together, moving together in the kinhin line, and each one of you online also holding your Dharma position there in your little screen. The truck outside is holding its Dharma position. We're hearing a lot of noise, which Zoom may be filtering out, I don't know. But the effort of each person in here is what creates the zazen kai and what creates the sangha. The effort of each one of you online creates the zazen kai, creates the sangha. And the sangha and the zazen kai are what each one of you is doing. So I've been thinking about these difficult times that we're in. Sometimes it feels like the world is going up in flames, or we are going up in flames personally, or someone we know, a loved one or friend, is going up in flames. So what are we to do? How can we practice in the midst of what seems like a conflagration sometimes? There's an image that most of you probably know, a classic image of the lotus flower that blossoms in the muddy water. We say in our Zen meal chant, "May we exist in muddy water with purity like the lotus." The lotus is a symbol of enlightenment, awakening, and what's powerful about it is that that enlightenment manifests not somewhere off screen, not in some other imaginary realm, but right here in the midst of all of the muck and mire of our lives. The image is of a stagnant pond in which there's all of this organic matter that's rotting and decomposing, and the water is turgid and murky, and it smells, it's stinky. And yet it's precisely in those conditions that the lotus blossoms. The lotus feeds, in fact, off of those conditions. Our enlightenment and our delusion and suffering are not at all separate from each other. Our awakening emerges and manifests out of our suffering and delusion, precisely. Our enlightenment feeds off of our suffering. So it's a really important, helpful metaphor, I think, for the work that we're trying to do here. It's not all shiny and clean and clear by any means, and yet we can wake up in the midst of these conditions, such trying, difficult conditions. But the image of a stagnant pond may not be quite enough for us these days. It may sound a little too placid. So there's another image I wanted to bring to your attention today, and that is the image of the Utpala flower. The Utpala flower is the blue lotus. Maybe our resident botanist knows about the blue lotus, but what the resident botanist may not know is that the blue lotus blossoms in fire. The blue lotus needs the fire to awaken, to open up. And it doesn't burn up. It doesn't just wither away. It actually flourishes in the midst of the heat and the searing conditions. So once again, it's a powerful image for, I think, for our practice and for our times. And what it's saying is that I think it's inspiring because it is acknowledging that we wake up out of the difficulties that we confront, out of the discomfort, out of the pain in our world, in our lives, in our circles. These are precisely the conditions in which we can wake up like the blue lotus flower. So our practice, as you hear over and over again, is about going through the fire, not fleeing from the fire, which is our instinct, perhaps. You turn away and you run away. But here, the practice is to stay present in the midst of the heat and the conflagration. Stay present. And just doing this, showing up and staying present, even when we're inclined to flee, is the way in which we can develop spiritually and in our lives. It seems crazy not to flee when you're faced with the flames, but our practice is saying, take a breath and stay present for a moment. And if you can do that for a moment, you will have the confidence to know that you can stay present for a moment. And then if you can stay present for another moment, you'll have the confidence that you can stay present for 2 moments, and so on and so forth. And actually, we can find if we do this, that we have a much greater capacity than we know. And we needn't be so consumed by fear and anxiety if we have this capability, which we know we have through experience if we try it and if we do it. So Zazen-kai is a really good place to practice this, to learn this, to mature in practice. And we have our everyday practice, and we have our retreats. And sometimes it's very, very challenging to stay present in the midst of our pain, physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain. We have a method to do this, of course, which is our zazen, our meditation practice, is how we can do this, how we can learn to do this, and how we can mature. And this image of the Utpala flower is one that appears in a fascicle of Master Dogen's called Kuge, which means flowers in the sky or flowers of emptiness. And it appears at the beginning of the fascicle. And I want to credit the Zen teacher Shinryu Roberts, who wrote an essay about the Utpala flower that was how I found out about it. But I found another passage where Dogen talks about the Utpala flower, the blue lotus. And it's in a very brief talk that he gave to the assembly of his monks. It's one in which he's talking about zazen. So here's what Dogen says. The sitting cushions of the 7 Buddhas are now about to be worn through. The 7 Buddhas are the primordial Buddhas who practiced even before Shakyamuni was born. So they've been practicing for a long time, and they've been sitting for a long time, and their cushion has been virtually worn through. And he goes on and he says, the sleeping stick of my former teacher, Ru Jing, has been transmitted. The sleeping stick is, you may have seen in images in the classical period, if monks were practicing all night long and they were at risk of falling over because they were so sleepy, they'd have a little post that would prop them up so they wouldn't fall down. So he says, the sleeping stick of my former teacher, Ru Jing, has been transmitted. So we're talking about real wholehearted zazen practice. And he says, nose vertical, eyes horizontal, crown of the head reaching up to the blue sky, and ears aligned above the shoulders. At this very time, how is it? Okay. So he's even giving us our posture instruction here for zazen. And how is it? And what about for you today at Zazen Kai? How is it? For those of you online today, how is it? So after a pause, Dogen responded to his own question. He said, do not control the monkey mind. Do not control the will of the horse. Just make an effort like a lotus in fire. What a fantastic teaching. Don't try to control your monkey mind. Let it swing around and jabber and do its thing. Don't try to control the will of the horse, maybe charging across the plain or snorting in your face. Don't try to control it. Just make an effort like a lotus in fire. So it's a teaching about really letting go in our practice and also really staying present, really making effort, not to achieve anything at all, but just to be present in the midst of what's going on, in the midst of the flames, in the midst of the conflagration. So before Dogen talks about the Upala flower, he starts out with a quote from Bodhidharma, in which Bodhidharma says, one blossom opens 5 petals. Fruit forms naturally. One blossom opens 5 petals, fruit forms naturally. And he goes on to say, study the moment of the blossom's blooming and of the light and color. The blossom consists of 5 petals. The blossoming of the 5 petals is one blossom. So each petal has its own shape, its own color and tone. And each petal makes up the blossom. And the blossom consists of each and every individual distinctive petal, just as the practice of each one of you constitutes Sangha and Zazen Kai. And Zazen and Sangha and Zazen Kai is made up of each one of you in all of your uniqueness, in the particular experience that you're having on the cushion today, in your practice this morning. So what does this mean? Dogen says, and he's talking about Bodhidharma, the true meaning of this blossom leads to the words, I am originally in this land to transmit Dharma and save deluded sentient beings. This means that the petal that is Bodhidharma is coming from India to China and meeting the emperor and sitting zazen facing the wall for 9 years and meeting his successor Wei and transmitting Dharma. That's how Bodhidharma did it. How do you do it? What is it for you? He says, this is a point of study of its light and color, the light and color of the petal. And then he says something else that we rarely hear Dogen so directly, but he says it very baldly here. He says, the forming of the fruit is up to you. This is the meaning of the fruit forms naturally of itself. It's up to you. If you're able to sit in the fires and stay present, this is the emerging and the manifestation of Buddha mind. And if the flower opens and blossoms, then what? What do? The fruit forms naturally of itself. And it's up to you. And Bodhidharma did it his way. You can do it your way. Dogen says, the fruit forms naturally means that it happens with cause and effect. Each one of us is living cause and effect. Each one of us is affected by cause and effect, and each one of us is creating cause and effect. You practice causes and effects in the common world, and you experience causes and effects in the common world. And this is how the lotus blossoms. This is how the fruit forms. Naturally, he says, means of itself. And here again, Dogen is unusually direct and plain and clear. He says, this of itself is invariably you. There, he just said it. It's you. That's what he's talking about. It is 4 great elements and 5 skandhas. All of the elements that make up you, your body, your heart, your mind, your identity, all of these elements. This is naturally of itself. So it's like, I think it's in the Genjo Koan when he says, to study Zen is to study the self. It's to study yourself. But then the next line is to study the self is to forget the self. And here Dogen puts it this way, because it is, as Rinzai said, a true person of no rank. Therefore, it is beyond self and other. This being so, what is indefinite is called self. So he's saying that the self is invariably you, definitely you, as you are with your color and tone and size and shape. But also, it is the person of no rank which goes beyond you. It goes beyond self and other, or any distinction between self and other. And then he says, forgetting the self is being verified by the myriad things. And here the way he puts that is thusness. In other words, it naturally forms thus of itself. That thusness is to accept what is as it is. So, what is the fruit that forms naturally of itself for you this morning? Sitting, chanting, doing the tech, hearing a Dharma talk, going out after zazen kai and riding the subway, or going home and doing the laundry, which is probably what I'll be doing. Maybe it's opening up the Sunday paper and weeping at the state of the world, or stepping out on the street and raising a fist and giving a shout, or getting on the phone and calling your friend or family member or loved one who's in crisis, health crisis, mental crisis, addiction crisis. Accepting as it is, you don't even have to fix the crisis. You just have to be present for it. You just have to listen to them. You can manifest it in any way you want. The fruit forms of itself. Forms naturally, he says, is the moment of the blossoming and forming of fruit. It is the moment to it is the moment to transmit Dharma and save deluded beings. It is like the time and place of the unfolding of the Utpala blossom that are then time and place of a blazing fire. The blossom and the fire are not separate. You are not separate from the flames. You are the conflagration. And you are the blossom, and you are you are the individual petal, and you are the fruit that forms naturally. The fruit forms naturally of itself, and it's up to you. You can take that as a kind of a challenge, or you can take that as a kind of freedom. The fruit forms naturally of itself, and it's up to you. Thank you.